Minecraft 1.21.5 is the Spring to Life drop and brings Firefly Bushes, new animal variants, fallen trees, leaf litter, wildflowers, and more. My name is Sliced Lime and this is the ultimate guide to all the changes. Let's start with Fireflies. The Firefly Bush is a new block found in swamps, near rivers, and near water in mangrove swamps and all badlands biomes that emits a slight bit of light at level 2. When in the dark, firefly particles appear around the Firefly Bush block up to 5 blocks away. You can get more of them by using bone meal, which causes a new one to be placed on a neighboring block if there is space. You do not need any particular tool to break them, they can be punched and drop instantly. There's also another type of new block for non-Firefly bushes. They are a new type of decorative block that can be found in small patches in plains, all kinds of rivers, forests and all birch forests, and windswept forests, hills and gravelly hills. Bushes are tinted by the grass color of the biome they are placed in. Bushes are replaceable when placing other blocks, and to obtain them you need to mine them with shears or a silk touch tool. Using bone meal on one places another bush next to it if there is an available space, just like Firefly bushes. There are two new types of grass, the short and tall dry grass. Don't be fooled by the tall grass name though, they are both one tall blocks, unlike the tall, moist grass. Dry grass of both varieties generate in desert and badlands biomes. They can be placed on any type of sand, terracotta and dirt blocks just like dead bush. If you bone meal a short dry grass block, it turns into a tall dry grass block. And if you bone meal that block, it will attempt to generate another short dry grass block on a neighboring block. If you want to mine them, you will need to use shears or a silk touch tool to obtain them. And like grass, sheep can eat them to regrow their wool. You can also use them as fuel in a furnace where they smelt half an item. There's also a new type of flower called Cactus Flower, which has a 25% chance of generating on cacti in deserts and badlands. It can also grow naturally when a cactus of height 1 or 2 grow, with a 10% chance of getting a cactus flower instead of another layer of cactus. If the cactus is instead 3 blocks tall, it has a 25% chance of growing a cactus flower. Cactus flowers only grow if they have space on all 4 sides. You can mine cactus flowers without any tool, and once you have it, you can also place it back on the cactus or on top of any other block with center support, even if that block doesn't have space around it. Bees pollinate on cactus flowers, are attracted to cactus flowers, and can be fed cactus flowers to breed. Cactus flowers can also be crafted into pink dye. Wildflowers is a new type of flower that grows in all types of birch forests and in meadows. Like pink petals, you can place up to 4 flowers in each block, and placing one into an existing block adds to the count. Bone meal can also be used to add more flowers. Just like pink petals, you can also place the wildflowers in 4 different orientations. Like other flowers, you don't need any special tool to break them, and they can be washed away using water. Bees will also pollinate on wildflowers. A single wildflowers item crafts into a single yellow dye. Together with this change, short grass now generates slightly sparser in meadow biomes. Using bone meal in a meadow biome can now generate wildflowers. Another type of new block with the same functionality is leaf litter. It is found in forests, dark forests and wooded badlands, and just like the wildflowers, they have up to 4 pieces in one block and can be placed in 4 different orientations. But unlike the wildflowers, you cannot grow them with bone meal. Another difference is that leaf litter can be placed on any block with full surface support. Leaf litter is tinted by which biome it is in, although rather than the green tints of grass-like blocks, leaf litter is tinted in reds and browns. Similarly to the other blocks, you don't need a special tool to break them, and they wash away with water. And it can also be replaced when placing blocks. Leaf litter cannot be crafted into a dye, but can instead be used as smelting fuel, smelting half an item per litter. Another way to obtain the leaf litter is by smelting any leaf block in a furnace. Firefly bushes, short and tall dry grass, cactus flowers, wildflowers, and leaf litter can all be composted, with the lowest possible chance to add a layer, 30% chance, same as leaves and saplings for instance. Falling leaf particles have been added to all types of leaf blocks, similar to those already present for cherry leaves and pale oak leaves. The same particle is used for all these tree types, but tinted based on the leaf color. This applies for oak, dark oak, jungle, acacia, spruce, mangrove, birch, azalea, and flowering azalea leaves. Each type of spawn egg now has its own unique icon, instead of all just being colored variants of the same spotted egg. Each one of those eggs has a clear visual showcasing the mob it spawns and its physical properties. For instance, smaller mobs will tend to have smaller spawn egg icons. Lodestones have changed in this version. You can now craft them with an iron ingot surrounded by chisel stone bricks instead of a netherite ingot. Lodestones can now also be found randomly in some ruined portal chests. 2/3 of all portal chests will have lodestones, and those that do will have either 1 or 2 lodestones. The Country Lode Take Me Home advancement has been moved from the Nether category to the Adventure category and is now found directly under the root of that advancement tab. Fallen trees are a long-awaited feature brought over from Bedrock Edition and involves a tree stump generating with a nearby fallen trunk. This trunk can also be decorated with mushrooms or vines. Fallen trees can be oak, birch, jungle, or spruce and can be found in biomes with that same tree type except for meadows, bamboo jungles, rivers, and groves. Flower forests only have fallen birch trees. The fallen birch trees in particular also come in both a shorter and a longer version. The long variant is up to 15 blocks long, compared to the shorter version which can only reach 8 blocks at most. There are now cold and warm variants of farm animals, that is cows, pigs, and chickens. The warm variants spawn in all savanna biomes, all jungle biomes, and all badlands biomes, where farm animals can now also spawn. The cold variants spawn in all taiga biomes, windswept hills, windswept gravelly hills, and windswept forests. Any other biomes that spawn these animals spawn temperate variants, which is the good old animals we're already used to. Breeding farm animals now randomly picks the baby variant from one of the parents. Spawning them using a spawn egg or the summon command now also picks the right variant based on the biome you're in. This extends beyond the biomes where the animals spawn naturally. The full list of warm, cold, and temperate biomes is on screen now. This also brings 2 new types of eggs: a blue egg which is laid by and can hatch cold variant chickens, and a brown egg which is laid by and can hatch warm variant chickens. Cakes and pumpkin pies can now be baked using any type of egg. Wolves now have 6 new sound variants with unique ambient, growl, whine, pant, hurt, and death sounds. The variants are called Big, Cute, Puglin, Angry, Grumpy, and Sad. And to that we also have the original sounds, which are now called Classic. Every wolf gets one of these variants assigned randomly when it spawns. This is not dependent on the texture variant of the wolf. This means you can have all 7 sound variants paired with all different types of wolves. The temperate cows now have tweaked models. They no longer have completely flat faces, and their horn and leg positions have been adjusted. Mushrooms now also have snouts that match the ones of cows. Camels now spawn naturally in deserts instead of only being found in desert villages. Sheep now have the remains of their undercoat dyed in the same color as their wool, like was already the case on Bedrock Edition. And sheep can now eat ferns, just like in Bedrock Edition. And the wool texture for sheep have been tweaked to remove a stark line at the back. Sheep now have updated rules for the color of their wool based on the biome they spawn in. In temperate biomes, they'll keep the same color probabilities as they had before. The common wool color for cold biomes is black, and the uncommon colors are now grey, light grey, white, and brown. For warm biomes, the common wool color is brown, and the uncommon colors are grey, light grey, white, and black. And in all 3 biome classes, there's still a rare chance for a pink sheep to spawn. Mob pathfinding no longer breaks if the mob falls in water, causing them to keep going in the same direction forever. Or at least until the world is reloaded. Zombified piglins now need to be killed by a player to drop player-specific loot, just like all other mobs in the game. The changes to cartographers and wandering traders from the villager trade rebalance experiment are now part of the base game. The experiment still exists and contains the other changes to librarians, armorers, and so on. This means cartographers now sell maps pointing to different village types or other structures in a biome with a specific villager type. That includes all types of villages, jungle temples, and witch huts. Which type of map is sold depends on which type of villager the cartographer is, and they will also now sell different types of colored banners. This also comes along with some adjustments to prices and amount of stock. The Wandering Trader now has better prices, more trades, and a larger amount of stock for many items. They will also now buy some items from players instead of only selling items. The possible bought trades include water bottles, water and milk buckets, fermented spider eyes, baked potatoes, and hay bales. The new items they can sell include logs of different types, enchanted iron pickaxes, and potions of invisibility. In other village news, you can now find bundles in some of the chests in the villages. This version also comes with changes to the features introduced in the Garden Awakens drop. The Pale Garden biomes have been expanded and now take more space that was previously occupied by Dark Forest biomes. Woodland mansions can now also generate in Pale Gardens. Creaking hearts placed between two aligned pale oak logs now have a new dormant texture during the day. When they are this dormant texture, they cannot spawn creakings, and no resin clumps can spawn from them. Creakings can now be name tagged. Named creakings will persist through the day, but will still despawn if stuck with a player or brought more than 32 blocks away from their creaking heart. They are still resistant to damage and show particles, and will despawn if the creaking heart is destroyed or no longer aligned with pale oak logs. The transition time of the creaking heart being dormant and eye blossoms opening and closing are now determined by the exact time of day switches. Previously, they were affected by the weather and brightness level in the dimension. Attacking a stationary creaking now properly triggers skulk sensors. A creaking that gets submerged no longer has its pathfinding break entirely. Chunks loaded by an entity passing through a portal will now load back in if a world is saved and reloaded, both for single-player worlds and for dedicated servers. Any block in simulation distance or that is being loaded by any type of chunk loader such as entities entering a portal or the ender pearl of a logged-in player now gets randomly ticked. Previously, this would only happen in an 8-chunk radius around each player. This means things like crop growth, copper aging, and amethyst crystal generation can now be chunk loaded. Hostile mob spawning and weather effects like lightning strikes still only happen in the 8-chunk radius like before. Fire no longer consumes blocks, burns out, or spreads outside of that 8-chunk radius as well. This behavior is controlled by a new game rule called Allow Fire Ticks Away from Player, which defaults to being off. If that is turned on, fire ticks can once again occur outside of the 8-chunk radius from a player. You can now once again sprint diagonally when pressing the sideways key first, and it is no longer possible to sometimes fall off an edge while sneaking if you walk at a certain angle. A bug fix from the previous version has been reverted. This change made it so you always stop sprinting if you started sneaking or using items that slow you down. Flying with Elytra now once again keeps your sprinting status, which means you can now once again take off immediately when you land with maintained speed. You can now activate swimming mode while flying with Elytra in water. And flying onto a ladder now lets you climb. Having string over the surface of a bubble column no longer instantly sinks boats over downwards flowing bubble columns, and no longer launches boats into the air over upwards flowing bubble columns. Overall, bubble columns now act the same regardless of if the block above the surface is air or something else. Any blocks that are in the way when the end portal generates now drops as items instead of vanishing. In addition to the Allow Fire Ticks Away from Player game rule mentioned before, there's also a port from Bedrock Edition called TNT Explodes that controls whether TNT can be set off and explode. When the game rule is off, TNT cannot be primed by any means, and trying to do so directly, like with the Flint and Steel, will show a message on the action bar. When the game rule is off, powering a TNT block with redstone does nothing, and blowing it up with an explosion causes it to vanish. A TNT block on fire can burn up as if it was a plank. Trying to dispense it will fail. The default for this game rule is true, which means the game works like it always has. Some visual fixes. Eyes of Ender now render in the right place compared to their hitboxes. Beacon beams now show up from further away. As long as the beacon is in your render distance, the beam will now show. When further away, the beam will be slightly thicker to remain visible. The enchantment glint is now more visible on tridents again. In sound news, the HRTF effect is no longer stuck on the on setting for some systems, even if the setting is toggled off. The iron block family now has a new set of break and place sounds, and step sounds. The narrator volume is now affected by the voice slider in the sound setting. Falling from a great height now once again plays the crunch sound, and block-specific sounds like the splash sound when landing on a waterlogged block. There are now a number of different ambient sounds that can play from a dead bush that is placed on top of 2 blocks of sand, red sand, or any terracotta block. And a new type of ambient sound played from sand, red sand, or terracotta blocks. They can play whenever the block has another block of one of those types exactly 8 blocks away in 3 of the 4 horizontal directions, but at the surface of the world. If the block also happens to be in a desert or any Badlands biome, there are now special wind-related ambient sounds that can also play. Firefly bushes now also have ambient sounds. This sound only plays during nighttime and if there's nothing above the bush except leaves. There are also unique sounds for walking through leaf litter. Blocks that are broken by a piston now play their breaking sound. And the sounds for breaking or placing grass-like blocks have been lowered in volume. In the user interface, the main menu now has a new panorama for its background, showing the border between a forest biome and a desert biome at sunset. Toggling full screen with the F11 button now properly saves the setting and updates the state of the full screen button in the settings screen. Crossbows now show all the charged projectiles in their tooltip instead of just the first. And now show the full information about the charged projectile instead of only doing that for fireworks. Repeated instances of the same firework star or projectile now show a compact form. If you use Control and Pick block on a container like a chest, you'll now see the same type of tooltip there as for a shulker. And there's now support for the Kyrgyz language in the game. As usual, this version also contains countless smaller bug fixes as well as new data pack and resource pack changes. If you're also interested in those, keep your eyes on the channel for a separate video. But that's all for this one. Thank you for watching. You may now spring to like using the button under the video. My name is Slime, and I'll see you next time.